Tax returns will save the economy. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian Heise here, and welcome to another episode of Heise Says. We don't need to worry, guys. We do not need to worry, because with all the free tax returns that we got, the government giving people back their own money. Remember, a big chunk of the year you work for the state, but still, they're giving it back to you. And because people haven't got around to filing their tax returns, they're hoping that once they do it, they get all this money flooding to them, they will go on a spending frenzy. A spending frenzy. I mean, come on. Let me know in the comments, guys. If you've gotten your tax return, what have you done? Have you gone on a spending frenzy? And buying silver or gold, I wouldn't say counts as a spending frenzy, guys. That's not going to help the retail market. Sure, it'll help the stackers, but you know what I mean. Have you gone to, like, say, Westfield or a local shopping centre and just bought consumer goods? Or have you paid off debt? Or have you buried it in the backyard? Or have you done, what else have you done with it? Let us know, just so we can get a bit of feel by the people who are watching this channel where that money's been spent. Because I would bet, I'd bet a carton, I'd bet a stein that a chunk of it's gone to getting rid of debt. So Australians reap tax refunds worth $17.4 billion as RBA signals tax cuts will boost spending. This is the same RBA that doesn't understand why the economy isn't growing. Maybe it's because their modelling is incorrect, or their economic theories are starting to peter out. There's only so much manipulation you can do. There's only so much war engine overdrive you can put on your engine before it peters out. So, almost 7 million Australians have reaped tax refunds worth more than $17.4 billion so far this year. But Reserve Bank Governor Philip Lowe says with about half of the population yet to lodge their annual returns, it's too early to judge whether income tax cuts have had an impact. Struggling retailers are hoping for busier trade in the lead up to Christmas, with another rate cut expected on Tuesday. Trade is also expected to lift as tens of millions of Australians eligible for tax cuts between $255 and $1,080 get their refunds when they lodge their returns. Okay, but the problem is, didn't a whole lot of people already spend it with the expectation that it was kind of a grant? Remember reading that a few months ago. The Australian Taxation Office told ABC News by Wednesday morning it had issued more than $6.6 million tax refunds worth more than $17.4 billion, and the average refund amount was $2,636. So let's think about this as another way. The government is holding $17.4 billion and $2,600 of people's money when they don't need to. So the system is taxing people more, and then they have to come and fix it at the end. That's the element of inefficiency in the economy. But the government holds on to it so people then spend it in a burst of money. Yeah. I would rather we look at permanently reducing taxes. Seriously reducing taxes, cutting back the size of government. There has to be some efficiencies we can get. And I'm certain there are. To date, the tax boost and record low interest rates have not spurred big spending at the shops, with many Australians choosing instead to pay down household debt. There you go, because people are worried. People are worried that a recession is coming, or the stars are all aligned in such a regard that it is. They're worried about what's happening overseas, or maybe they're starting to learn a little bit more. Get a bit cynical of what you're being told in the news and in the media every day. And going, that doesn't feel right. That seems a bit dodgy. But Dr. Lowe has said household disposable income should lift off the back of tax cuts and lower interest rates. On Tuesday night, Dr. Lowe gave the strongest indication yet that another cut in the official interest rates will be delivered next week in an effort to drive unemployment down. Well, do you think it will? do you think it will drive unemployment down? Not if, well, let's see. We get a cut in cash rates. That's a cut in mortgages. So everyone who's a householder has, a reduced amount that they have to pay on their mortgage. So what do you think they're going to do? If the majority of people are already spending everything to pay down household debt, are they even going to bother changing their repayments? Or are they just going to let it run and pay down more? I'd bet a carton that it's just going to go into more debt reduction. So then are the banks going to be spending all that money? Oh boy. Boy, what more can they do? Helicopter money, here we come perhaps. The cash rate is expected to drop on Tuesday for the third time this year to a record low of 0.75%. Dr. Lowe said many Australians still had not lodged their tax returns, and past experience suggests about half of the tax refunds will be spent over coming quarters. He predicted that would boost aggregate household income by 0.6% this year, and lower interest rates would also help reignite consumer spending. Let's see. I mean, in other articles he's saying they don't understand why the economy is so slow, and now he's making predictions. Let me know in the comments, guys. Do you trust his predictions? Do you? I'm a little cynical about it. I think, the other survey data we're hearing where 82% of people think there is a recession coming, I think that's what people are going. They're preparing, they're hunkering down, everyone's doing what they can. Yeah. So cafe owners closing shop. The signs so far point to little consumer appetite to spend. Brisbane coffee entrepreneur Philip DeBella told ABC News the combination of weak consumer confidence and rising electricity prices had hurt cafe owners. So rising electricity prices. Well, there you go. I mean, guys, I've done videos and spoken about the electricity generation in Australia. It's just going to keep getting more expensive. The more capex you expend on infrastructure that is intermittent power generation, the more expensive your power is going to get. It's that simple. Okay? You can't subsidize it into being 100% intermittent, because then you're going to have to invest so much in storage technology which just isn't there, and which has tremendous environmental and ethical impacts as well. I mean, just think about conflict minerals, but that's not what that's not a motive enough to get people to support these things. So we supply over 800 cafes Australia-wide with coffee, and we probably see one a month close now, he said. One a month. Actually, speaking of coffee, I am planning to get some Heise Says branded coffee blends. We'll see. That's for when I get some merchandise going at 10,000 subs. I'm organising it, guys. So we're the biggest in the country in what we do. So when we're seeing one a month close, that's pretty alarming figures for our industry. But he said cafes were starting to get busier, and we're counting on solid trade in the lead up to Christmas. We're heading in towards Christmas, and things always start to ramp up around October, November, when there's a real good vibe in the air. So I think the timing is good. The timing will help with the confidence for people and hopefully retailers as well. Flight Centre Managing Director Graham Turner also has not seen spending take off yet and has little faith it will. Well, good old, let's jump over here to, I'm going to bring up trading economics and we will have a look, because Flight Centre are dealing in a sector where, here it is, I'll bring that up here, dealing in a sector where we're looking at the Australian US dollar. So, every dollar's buying 67 US cents. That's going to have an impact. Oh, we'll look at the 4-hour graph. Yeah, anyway, that's going to have an impact on your ability to spend overseas on your holidays, wherever you go in the world. So, there you go. Line up for that cheap holiday and spend, you might get a cheap flight, but nothing else will be. Flight Centre Managing Director Graham Turner, it's not... okay, he's already said that taking off. It's funny how they use that. The consumer sentiment, from our experience in Australia, is pretty weak at the moment. And I don't think a $1,000 tax cut is going to make any difference. But I hope I'm wrong, he said. I suspect he's been around a bit longer than a lot of people. Are we heading for a mega spend? So it may be too early to contrast the current weak spending with the last times Australia got a major cash injection. It was in 2009, during the time of the GFC, and then Prime Minister Kevin Rudd handed about 8 million people a $900 cheque. Armed with the extra cash, consumers went out and spent a record $19.2 billion at the shops in January that year. So here's a breakdown of tax cuts, and they're getting higher, and people are going, why do the people that already get 180,000 get such a high tax cut? Because they pay more, guys. Okay, if you don't understand that, our education system's really, really concerning. Tax cuts favour the rich. Of course they're favouring the rich, because you have our tax system is set up to de-incentivise people to earn more money. It's insane. It really is. ABC News asked people outside Melbourne's Bourke Street Mall earlier this week if they were spending or saving tax cuts. Not everyone is splashing their cash. Kate Jewell came to Melbourne for a weekend trip and said she spent her tax cut of about $1,000 partly on shopping and partly on her kids' education. Peter Leroy said he got the full 1080 and it went to paying for general expenses. It's disappeared, it's gone, he said. I used it just to live on. It probably went on groceries, but I didn't buy a flat screen television. Well, there you go. Well, yes. So, Enid Matthews, a stay-at-home mum, said, with tax benefits from my husband's job, we've paid off the credit card. There you go. We're trying to get debt-free. There you are. That's it. I mean, that's very sensible. Good work. Good work. That's good to hear. But that shows you where it's going. People are reducing debt. It's the same thing about the cash splash to all the public servants here in Queensland. Economists are predicting it will not make any difference because people will just use it to pay off debt. What do you do when you're worried for the future? If you're sensible, you plan. So, Mark Grau has not lodged his return yet, but when he gets the 1080 tax cut, he will consider rolling it over into an investment, possibly super. Come on, mate, just get some silver. Get some silver. You want to get a few ounces. So household debt weighs down spending. EY chief economist Joe Masters said one of the key differences this time compared to post-GFC time, when many Australians did go out and buy big screen televisions, well, Rachel bought a sewing machine at the behest of the government, is that household debt is high, wage growth is close to historic lows, and people are more concerned about job security. Exactly. You got it right there, Joe. Household debt is about 190% of disposable income at the moment, Ms. Masters said. The barrage of bad news could be playing into people's lack of confidence. When I've got a lot of debt and I'm worried about my job security and I'm worried about the economy because I keep reading about trade wars and the fact that growth here is slowing, it's not surprising that I'd rather pay off debt than spend, she said. The economic picture will become clearer when the August retail figures are released next week. The last reading painted a gloomy picture of consumer spending and the economy, with retail sales falling 0.1% in July. Dominic Lamb from the National Retailers Association said good signs are beginning to show. Foot traffic at malls is higher, and she hoped that would translate into more sales soon. We're going to see money spent within homewares, certainly furniture and white goods and other things from around the home, she said. Or she hopes. Well, guys, I think it's pretty clear. I suspect it's all going to go into debt reduction. Majority of it will go into debt reduction. Let me know what you think in the comments, guys, and what you're planning or what you've spent your money on. I suspect a lot of you have probably invested it. Let me guess. How many of you put it in Bitcoin, some in silver, some in gold, some in some shares? Or who went to the tracks? Anyway, guys, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Have a good day.